Have you ever prepared a message, a speech, an email, or a pitch that you've been working on? You were excited for it, you prepared, you delivered it, but when it comes to the audience, it just fell flat. There was nothing. And you put in the work. There was a lot of logic in what you were sharing, and you believed it, but in the end, it didn't land how you wanted. The applause wasn't there, the emotion wasn't there, and you felt quite disappointed at the end of the day because you put in a lot of preparation to that message. Well, as you are sharing that and preparing for it, I want you to keep in mind when it comes to those things and all that work you put in, the problem probably isn't you, it's your framework. So I want you to stop and think for a moment, because here's the hard truth about human beings. We're not moved by information. We're really moved by feeling. So I want you to stop and think about the last big decision you made recently. What came first, logic or emotion? Or if you're a parent, one of the big things you had to deal with your child, was it feeling or was it really good thinking? So the reality is, as we connect with people, as we craft a message, we have to keep in mind that we are emotional creatures who occasionally think, and not the reverse. That's good. So as we are communicating, as we're sharing messages, preparing that email, preparing that presentation, we have to remember that leading with the facts skips the part of people's brains that helps them most with decision making. And oftentimes, as we're trying to land something well, we have to keep in mind that there's a gap between sharing an idea and then really landing with that person's feelings. And when we skip that and that gap widens, that's where most of our communication dies. So the good news is there's a 3-step process that we can all take that helps solve this and land it even better. So I'm going to share 3 things for you to consider. The first is problem. Start with the problem. Here's the deal. When we name the pain that that person in the audience or that person reading our message is already living in, it connects with them drastically better. It makes them feel seen and they lean in. And I'll give you an example from our own company and our own work. As mentioned, my wife and I have a bridal shop called Something New. And it's easy when you own a company to tell people how great you are, or how great your product is, or your service, or why you're better than everybody else. But what I learned over time as I've done hundreds of expos, live events, connecting with brides, trying to schedule appointments and support them in their journey, that if you start with telling them, hey, we're the best bridal shop in town, or we care about people more than others, it's only so great. But if you start and you ask them questions of like, how's it going with your bridal shopping journey? Or how things going? When is your wedding? Tell me more about that. Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling excited? When did your fiance propose? Tell me more. We connect with that person about their problem, the things on their mind. Things go drastically better. Or other examples. Imagine if Max got an email saying, do you feel like you're living life to the max? Would he open that email? Or imagine if some of our real estate friends heard a messaging like, are you frustrated about all the work you put into things, but aren't getting the amount of closings? Or another example, do you just wish that high school students would pay more attention when you're teaching? Would that get the attention of me? Of course it would. And so, again, the key thing is start with the problem and make that person feel safe. So number 1, problem. The second thing is to agitate. You really need to illuminate the cost, really share the ripple effects and get to the emotional level with a person of like, this problem, this is how it makes you feel. And so think about, if you're talking about real estate, think of all of the hours you've put in, all of the showings you've done, all of the time you've invested. You washed your car, you put in all these other elements, and then it fell flat. Connect with that person and say all that emotion and work that they put into that and really get to the feeling level, not just the logic level. Because emotion activates things for us. Okay? So the second part is agitate. The third is solve. Problem, agitate, and now solve. Only now do you present the solution. And at this point in the process, it feels like a resolution for the person and not just a sales pitch. Okay. So it's 3 steps. It works with the way that we are actually wired. It works with the way that we're actually created as human beings. And now I want to let you in on something. This speech that I just am giving you today is an example of problem, agitate, and solve. Okay, you start with the problem, you agitate it with the feelings and the emotion for a person that really gets to their heart. That thing that really drives in and makes them feel those feels. And then you also offer them a solution that feels like something they can help them, not just a pitch. Yeah. So the frustration of no response when you've worked so hard on a message, right? But that logic doesn't move people. You've try it with your children, good luck. It doesn't always work, right? Because they're thinking and feeling. And then the other part is a framework I just gave you. Helpful framework that'll help you in your next email, your next message, your next pitch. So again, don't start with the answer, start with their pain and earn the solve. Problem, agitate, solve. 3 steps, the most powerful concept in marketing and perhaps in life. Thank you. Thank you.